There we go. Sorry, guys. Got it.
It's okay. Thank you. I call this meeting to order on August 7th, 2024 at 3:10 p.m. May we have roll call, please?
Yes, Gina, Kathleen Gish,
Here.
Eli Frescas,
Here.
Kendra Garcia,
Here.
Aurora,
Here.
Angelique.
I'm present.
All right. And then Pam,
Here.
and then Gina Maria,
Here.
and Miriam. Yeah, I think she's
Here.
she's here. Okay.
No, I'm here.
Okay.
By
And
phone.
of course, Christopher.
He's excused.
Okay. There we are. We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you so much. Next is approval of the agenda. Are there any changes or amendments that need to be made to the agenda? No, if there are no changes or amendments that need to be made to the agenda, may we have approval of the agenda?
Move to approve the agenda as given.
I second.
Eli. And let's go ahead and do roll call. Okay, and I'm gonna call for the vote. Is that correct?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you. Okay. Chair Gish,
Yes,
Eli,
Yes.
Kendra,
Yes.
Aura,
Yes.
Angelique,
Yes, please.
Pam,
Yes.
Gina Marie,
Gina Maria. Yes.
Maria. Sorry. Miriam,
So good.
Yes.
or you guys can call me anything also. Okay, and there we go.
thank you, everyone. Next
It's
is
gonna be a long
approval.
meeting.
Yeah. Next is approval of the minutes. And I do have some questions about the minutes, and I know that we've been going back and forth on these. So for June 5th, we at least have the vote in here. But throughout the document, it doesn't say. It seems like it doesn't say actions or who took the action. So for some of the items, it says, like, for example, moved member Black and co-chair. No. Member Black moved and seconded by member Opalescent. But then some of them just say moved and seconded by, but doesn't say anyone. And I don't, quite honestly, these minutes confuse me and they always
Yeah, I don't like the format, and if that's what happened, my gut thing tells me that maybe Vicky didn't enter the name or didn't click on the name.
Right, and
And
it's in
'cause
several places.
And so what I'll have to do is go back and click on it.
Okay,
And with that, that's when you can sign the final version of
Yeah.
with those clicks. I'll print out one that says that. But
Thank
that's because I have my notes that I took about who seconded and all that stuff, and I'll have to go back to my notes, go back in and do it myself.
yes. And I don't see that on the July minutes, just the June minutes, so.
Yeah, if you can tell me which ones offline, which ones need to be corrected, and I'll do that correction.
Okay, thank you. I will do that. So then I would, and that's the only changes that I see that need to be made because the actions were added, but it just doesn't say by who.
No, I can fix that.
Yeah.
I can fix
So then I would move to approve the June 5th, 2024 meeting minutes as going to be amended.
Yes.
I so motion,
Okay.
yes, including Daniel's amendments, correct?
Yes.
Second.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. And I'm writing down who seconded. So as you can tell, I have no one helping. Okay, that's okay. Chair Gish,
Yes.
Eli,
Yes.
Kendra,
Yes.
Aura,
Yes.
Angelique,
Yes.
Pam,
Yes.
Gina Maria,
Yes. Sorry, Matt.
Miriam.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next.
Next is July 3rd minutes, 2024. And I didn't see anything in the minutes, to edit or alter in these. Doesn't
Can
mean,
you say they're, can you say they're perfect? No?
no, I can't. Because I'm still confused by them. So no.
Yeah, yeah, I understand. I feel the same way.
And it wasn't signed, like there's no signature. by
I
Sid-
signed it.
Well, I didn't receive the signed copy. So,
No way. No way.
so may we have a motion to approve the July 3rd, 2024 meeting minutes as they are.
Who's gonna move it?
I move to approve
Look at
them.
that.
I
Kendra moves.
second.
Who seconds? Gina Maria?
Maria, yeah.
Okay. Okay, now I'll call for the vote. We Chair Gish,
Yes.
Eli,
Yes.
Kendra,
Yes.
Aurora,
Yes.
Angelique,
Yes.
Pam,
Yes.
Gina Maria,
Yes.
Miriam.
Yes.
Cool.
Okay, next is public comments. And I just want to say that, because we're not documenting who is attending, if you want to say your name so that there's a record of you attending, that would be fantastic. I do keep notes just for myself in case I need to follow up with someone, but anyone in attendance who wants to either just say their name or who wants to introduce themselves and speak, on any matters that you wish, or just introduce who you are. We do have a few, people that I did invite here. And I'm very grateful to see you here in this meeting. And so thank you for being here. And I also want to say throughout the entire meeting after this, that guests will be allowed to participate as much as you wish. So you are able to speak throughout the whole meeting, and not just the people on the committee. So anyone who wishes to speak, please raise your hand, or type in the chat. I see that, I think it was Meji.
Hi, Miji Renaud. I just wanted to say that I listened to the Conversations Different podcast last week, and was really impressed by you guys. And two takeaways that I had, and I don't remember who said it, was advocate for yourself, and someone said something about the majority of us will eventually become disabled. I was thrilled that Inez brought up sidewalks, because that is what brought me to your group in the first place over a year ago. And I have been working nonstop for over a year to try to get the sidewalks in my neighborhood fixed. I'm looking forward to the AARP presentation, because hopefully that will be addressed. I'm happy to report that about 20% of the sidewalks that I turned in over a year ago have been fixed. But unfortunately, the most egregious ones are just still awful. And I'll keep working on it. But I'm very happy to be here, and thank you for all of your advocacy. That's it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And you have my email, so absolutely, I will be in touch with you. Okay.
Okay, I'm around.
Thank you. Elijah Valdez.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Elijah Valdez. I'm a community organizer in the community and I am deaf. So I'm just happy to be here and listen in for today.
Thank you so much. And I really appreciate you being here. Thank you. Next is Aurora.
Yes, I wrote a personal essay on homelessness that I'm going to send around to everybody later. And I would like your comments. I got some comments last night from a group and also ideas on how to put it forward, like letter to the editor, something, whatever, any ideas you have, I would appreciate it. I'll send that after our meeting ends.
Thank you, Aurora. And Gina Maria?
We have someone in the chat who's requested that we say our names when we're speaking so she knows who it is. So I am Gina Maria Opalescent with a very, excuse my French, a very crappy voice today. Bleh. So
You'd like-
please say your name before you speak.
So this is,
Honorata.
go ahead, Honorata.
Hi, Honorata Kazimierczak from Stamford, Connecticut. I am the Vice Chair of the ADA Advisory Council. Just wanted to say that I am here as a member of the public.
Thank you so much, Honorata.
This is
Eli-
Philip.
Go ahead, Phil.
I'm sorry.
That's
I
okay.
had trouble with the voiceover finding the raise my hand function,
That's okay.
and I don't use chat with the voiceover function. Philip McGowannick from Stamford, Connecticut. I am the chair of the City of Stamford, Connecticut ADA Advisory Council. I'm also the chair of the State of Connecticut Rehabilitation Council for Services for the Blind and a councilman for the State of Connecticut Public Transportation Council. We've had great pleasure, Honorata and I, joining your meetings and having Chair Gish join our meetings here in Stamford virtually. And it's great to note that we're not the only municipality in the country facing the same struggles with respect to accessibility and ADA compliance. So you have friends and teammates here in Connecticut.
Thank you so much, Phil. Eli?
This is Eli. Thanks, Chair Gish. I don't want to step on anyone, so if anybody from the public wants to make a comment, so go ahead. Anybody? Okay, because I just wanted to give some background on the podcast. That was a podcast that Chair Gish, myself, Eli Frescus, and Angelique Chavez Montoya participated in about a month ago or so, and it got released last week, I believe, and it was really great. We're very thankful to the Santa Fe New Mexican for reaching out to us to do that podcast. It's not technically part of this Mayor's Committee on Disability. It's part of our non-for-profit called Disability Pride New Mexico. But it was a really great opportunity to talk about some of those access issues, and I really appreciate folks in the community listening, and I hope it really resonated with the sidewalks issues, which is obviously a big challenge for this very old city, but lots of opportunity as well. So thank you to the Santa Fe New Mexican. Thank you for a lot of the positive press we received about the work we did for Disability Pride Month. And hopefully, we'll be able to do further collaborations with the Santa Fe New Mexican and a podcast. Inez, who was the person who interviewed us, was really positive, and afterwards she wanted to have a follow-up conversation, probably sometime next year. And I would love to have some sort of community event where we talk with the Santa Fe New Mexican about all of our unique needs in the city. So again, thank you for Santa Fe New Mexican, and thank you for all the new people who are joining us today. Through numbers, we have power. Through advocacy, and we need people to show up. So this is wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Eli. And next is Pam.
Yes, I just want to remind everyone that I'm a lip reader. So if you are speaking, please turn your video camera on if you possibly can.
Thank you. And I know some people here like really can't. So it's just so you know. Um, let's see. Is that all for the public comments? And to Dee Dee, do you see the initial next to, and I wish that it said our names too, and I don't know how to make it say our names. It just has an initial on mine, but I can differentiate it as to who it is just by the initial. But I don't know if you can. And so, and I don't know if you can see that. So, but I just wanted to point that out if you are able to see that is one of the things. And I don't know, Daniel, if we can look into a way to make Zoom say our names on the chat, that would be fantastic, because I'm not going to be able to say my name every single time I speak. I speak throughout the entire meeting.
What I'll do is I'll talk to somebody. I'm gonna be meeting with Aaron on Friday, communications, and I'm gonna see if I can get TJ, who does partners and does us all three, and then I'll get you on the link to put together that meeting for the future
Okay.
meetings, and see if we can do something like that. I don't know if it's
'Cause
possible.
I remember it being on at least one prior meeting, and I was thinking, wow, it says my name on there, and that's pretty cool. Like, it says the name that's on the screen. So whatever the name you have on your screen is what should be showing on this chat, and it's not.
Yeah,
So-
because like I could have one of them says a phone number and another one has something else and so forth. And right now, when I'm looking at everybody, I see like your name, Chair Gish. I see Eli's. I see Pam's. Everyone has their name for the most part, even the interpreter.
Yeah.
So I see it, but I don't know why you guys can't see it.
I
And
see.
if anything, maybe you guys will have to wear a sign that says your name.
Kathy,
Well, it's
I'll
more
just
that the
point out-
text isn't associated with what we're saying. So it's like, and I remember that being in one meeting because I thought that was pretty neat.
I'll
But
try to get it done. We'll try to get
Okay.
it done.
thank you.
It could be done on the Zoom side, the host side, to assign names to the participants, because those who are using Zoom but calling in One Touch Mobile or calling in via phone number, their names aren't going to show up.
I wonder if we
Yeah,
could do it somehow.
Yeah.
So someone in the settings should be able to change it.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're a guest and you're planning to come in the future, go ahead and email our chair or myself and identify yourself, and then I'll try to include that in the list of names on the screens that I'll associate it with your number, your phone number, or your email. I'll try to do it that way.
I do send out an email list, so a lot of people do reply to me. So I do have a somewhat of a heads up, but this time it was all people who weren't going to attend replying to me. So no one who was going to replied. Gina Maria?
But also, I just want to add that
Yeah,
people who are using lip reading services or hard of hearing and need the facial, people, again, calling in with a
Yes.
phone number and not using the Zoom video app itself, aren't going to have the option to have their face seen for that person to use lip reading.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Thank you, Phil. Gina Maria?
So I'm looking at the person who has the phone number listed. We don't know who that is.
It's Miriam.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you change your name there, Miriam? Do you know how?
I
She's-
do not.
No.
If
Okay.
you
showed it.
roll over your own square and go on the upper right corner and click on it, oh, it doesn't have it.
No.
No. And I'm on the phone.
Okay. Okay.
And-
Forget it. Sorry.
How about there?
Yeah, you changed it. See, I don't have the ability to change it because I'm not a co-host. So,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you, Daniel.
I think I'm gonna make
Um,
someone a co-host.
I'm more than happy to be a co-host, but I have to know, so I sign into my city account. That was kind of why I fought for it, because I was like, well, I can help, but
Yeah, but
I
we
need to
had
know.
some, we had some outside entities try to break into our system and
That's
they
so
are not
crazy.
letting that happen.
That's so crazy.
I don't want it to be that, that's why we lost our system.
So next is, we have no presentations. If there's no more public comments, we should move on.
Okay,
Next is discussion and possible action. Item 7A, vote for approval of the Mayor's Committee on Disability edits to the July 3rd, 2024 CART transcript. Are there any other changes or edits that need to be made to those to that transcript? And these are substantive changes that are for clarity in particular.
so who's gonna motion?
If there are no changes, then may we
motion.
have a motion to approve the transcript as has been edited or amended?
I'll motion, and I would like to go on the record to thank Aurora for all her work. Good Lord.
Do we have a second?
I'd like to second that motion and also thank Aurora for all her work. She is really amazing at writing and editing, so we're just really lucky to have her. Thank you, Aurora.
Okay, with the chair's permission, I'll
Yes,
ask
please.
for a vote.
I'm gonna forget.
I know, it's okay, that's why we're both here. Chair Gish,
Yes.
Eli,
Yes.
Kendra,
Yes.
Aura,
I
She there?
think she dropped off.
Hmm.
That's-
I'm gonna let her back in. Okay, got her back in. Hang on.
Yeah, I
she's
don't
coming.
think she's.
Aurora, we're voting on the transcripts.
She's not in yet. There she is.
We're voting on the transcripts. Aurora, do you approve?
Yes.
Okay. She did them, so you better approve. Angelique?
Yes.
Pam?
Yes,
Okay, and Gina Maria?
Yes.
Miriam?
Yes.
You hear us, Miriam?
She said yes, I heard her.
Okay.
Me
Okay,
too.
we got everybody.
Okay. All right, thank you. Yeah, I keep seeing changes on the screen, and so I'm like hoping people aren't dropping off.
I got frozen out and then I lost everything. Yeah.
I'm
The
trying to keep
internet.
up, and if I see someone trying to get in, I'll let them in. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yes,
you.
I think Pam just dropped
Pam's
off.
here.
Oh, Pam is here.
Yeah.
Someone else, hang on.
We got Pam, Gina Marie, Eli,
Miriam.
Aurora,
Miriam dropped.
Miriam dropped.
Dropped. Yep, that's who it was.
Yeah.
Sorry.
She'll
So,
try to come back in. Yeah, she wants to be driving and probably lost the signal.
yeah. So next is, and I don't see Counselor Garcia here. I don't know if Counselor
And
Garcia.
he's not waiting either, so.
No, okay, that's
yeah.
fine. So I will hold that item off, and if we don't get to it, then we'll table it for the next meeting. It's been a recurring, just a follow-up on the BPAC resolution and the budgeting process, with any updates, if anything changes, so that we can prepare for that in 2025.
I'm
So
letting you back, Miriam.
thank you.
I'm sorry.
No
Yes.
problem.
I got disconnected.
No problem.
So next is item 7C, discussion on updates and actions needed regarding the City of Santa Fe age-friendly resolution passed by the governing body in February 2024 with Sherry Dotson from AARP. And Sherry, thank you so much for being here. And I would like if you could give a brief summary of what the age-friendly resolution is and what is happening with it. And I know some things so I can contribute as well, but please, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I'm feeling a little intimidated by the two people from Connecticut that are on. Again, my name is Cherie Dotson. I know that you can't tell that from spelling it, but it's always had the French pronunciation. I am an AARP volunteer, and I'm a retired registered nurse with a master's degree in counseling and psychology. So that's a little bit of my background. The AARP program, called Age Friendly Communities, was started in 2020 with 5 states in the pilot project. And those were Arizona, which at least is our neighbor, Florida, Iowa, Maine, and New York. Looking at the AARP Livability Index, Santa Fe is doing fairly well with an overall score of 60, which is in the top half of communities in the United States. So yay, Santa Fe.
60 represents what?
The livability, AARP's Livability Index. And we have a score of 60. So we're not in the bottom half.
Wow.
And on that in livability index, as far as affordability and access to housing, we have a score of 56, which includes multifamily housing and the cost of housing in Santa Fe. I'm surprised that we're doing that well because it seems like houses cost an awful lot in Santa Fe. I know our house has gone way up in value, but I don't plan to move. The neighborhood proximity and security score that we got is 54. And that is access to grocery stores, parks, and libraries. And I believe we have 3 libraries, so I'm very proud of that. The transportation, safety, and convenience score is 61. And that is based on our ADA accessible transit stations and vehicles, our walkability index, our congestion, traffic congestion, and our speed limits. On the environment, they measured clean air and water, and we got a score of 52. And that's based on our drinking water quality, our air quality, and our roadway and industrial pollution. On the health prevention, access, and quality, we got a score of 67. And that is based primarily on our smoking prevalence, which in Santa Fe is 12.7%. I'm glad it's very low. Our obesity index, which is 21.6, and our access to exercise, which is 73.4%. So I think that's really good. We have so many possibilities for exercise. As far as healthcare professional shortage, which we know is nationwide and not just in Santa Fe, we got a score out of an index of 0 to 25. We're at 16.5. And so, you know, we're working hard on recruiting. I know that New Mexico as a state put up billboards in our surrounding states trying to recruit providers, medical providers, and I think that's making Arizona and Texas a little angry because we're recruiting their people away. The engagement, which includes civic and social involvement, we got a 93% on that index. And that included our broadband cost and speed, which is up at 99.7%. Our opportunity for civic involvement, which is 19.4%. Our voting rate, 63.3%. Our cultural, arts, and entertainment, which we have a 10.1 score per 100,000 people. So whatever that means. And also under opportunity, our inclusion and possibilities is 38%. And again, that includes jobs per worker. We are the same as a median US city. So we're pretty equal with other cities our size. Our high school graduation rate is 87.0, which surprised me that it was that high because I used to be a school nurse. And I know we weren't doing that well before I retired, but I'm glad to see that it's gone up. The age diversity in our cities is slightly lower than a median city of our size. We're at 0.76 and a median city is at 0.84. So we don't have as much diversity in our town. But the interesting thing, the demographics, the percentage of our population with a disability is 15%. Under the age-friendly communities that AARP has, there are 8 domains of livability. Have you guys talked about that before?
Yes, we have, and but go ahead and give a really brief rundown, and then
Okay.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'll try to be quick without harassing the person who's signing over there. We have the first domain of livability is outdoor spaces and buildings, then transportation, civic engagement and employment, communication and information, respect and social inclusion, social participation, health and community services, and housing. And as far as that, in the first domain, people need public spaces to gather indoors and out, green spaces, seating, and accessible buildings with elevators, zero-step entrances, and staircases with railings that can be used and enjoyed by people of all ages and abilities. 73% of adults say it's important to have safe, well-lit parks where residents can gather and interact with friends. And as far as the social participation, everyone wants to feel valued. Socially inclusive gatherings and activities are great ways for people to learn from one another, honor what each has to offer, and feel good about themselves. As far as the health and community services, 96% of adults think staying mentally sharp, and 92% think staying physically healthy, and 91% think we need good health insurance in order to have a happy life. These 3 things are key to a successful age-friendly community. And as far as housing, we spend more time in our homes than anywhere else. So housing costs, choices, and accessibility are critical. 77% of adults age 50 or older want to stay in their homes and their communities as they age. And of course, pedestrians need sidewalks and safe crossable streets in order to get around. And I know when I was using a walker not too long ago, because I had knee replacement surgery, some of those sidewalks were a little challenging. So I know somebody was talking about sidewalks. I think that is an area that we need to focus. Age-friendly communities recognize that not everyone is tech savvy or has smartphones and internet access. So information needs to be shared in a variety of ways to our public, and the internet access is key. So we do need broadband, but I think we're doing pretty well on that, except like we've seen tonight, it glitches a little, it goes in and out, as does mine. So how do we become an age-friendly community? Well, the first thing we would do is a needs assessment in our communities, and AARP has examples of how to do those. Then we come up with a plan to address the 8 domains of livability. We come up with the action steps for that plan. We recruit talented people to head up those different action steps in the 8 domains, and maybe some university staff or some professional association members would be good places to start for some of those areas of livability. We would then recruit more volunteers as needed to carry out our action plan. And I did want to point out that we also, in AARP, do have disaster preparedness. And this is a key area because adults 65 and older are disproportionately impacted by severe weather and fires, as we have in New Mexico. So community planning is vital. AARP has lots of resources for disaster preparedness, as well as Home Fit, which is a program that teaches you how to make your home more livable as we age or as we have disabilities. And we have driver safety and fraud prevention, just as a little plug. Okay. Thank you. What can I answer? I'm not Gary, but I'm doing my best.
No, you're doing great.
I was supposed to
great.
do this presentation.
Yeah, no, you're doing great. So I wanted everyone to have that understanding, so I appreciate that because you explained it way better than I could have. And then I wanted to just say that this amazing resolution passed. And I didn't know about it until about 3 weeks ago. No one had said anything, even though this committee was chosen by the governing body to review it. And we immediately saw the benefit to the community overall, but also to the benefit of increasing ADA compliance, accessibility, inclusion. And so I'm a little bit confused as to why I haven't heard anything for 5 months. I don't know
And
if you
neither have
can
I
hear
heard.
that, Daniel.
They haven't even talked to me either. So,
I understand Gary was waiting for somebody to sign something, and he's been calling frequently, I think, trying to get that signature done so we can send it in, and then AARP will contact us to get us rolling.
so it has not been signed yet?
And as I understood it, when I talked to Gary last week, it was not signed yet.
Okay, I think I know who I need to talk to. I think it's Miss Tucker. And so I'll give her a call and follow
Okay.
up on her,
Yeah.
where she at with that.
Okay, because that's why we're stalled, I think, and then we can get on going.
Okay,
And my understanding, first I'm gonna go to Gina Maria because you've been waiting for so long, Gina Maria. I'm sorry.
her hand's getting tired.
Yes, my hand's tired. Excuse me, so with the glitching of the internet, right when you said the voting number, it like muted on me. I don't know if it was maybe 68. I was trying to watch your mouth too, but I don't lip read, so
In reference to
voting.
how many people vote in our city?
Yes.
Voting rate was 64.3.
Wow.
So, I would love to see it 100%, but
Thank
I
you.
know a few people who refuse to go out and vote. So, we
Well,
can't.
you might see it this November.
Well, there might be a lot more this November.
It might be. It might be.
Yeah. Very
Uh,
contested.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Gina Maria. Next is Eli.
Yeah, Eli here. Sherry, thanks so much for sharing. And tell Gary, thank you so much for everything and his presentations here as well. I guess one question is, it sounds like there's like a next phase that's happening now. What does that next phase entail? Is that something that the city leads? Is that something that a university, like you had mentioned, might lead? What does that look like?
Well, I think the first thing is the assessment of where we are and what we need. So that would be a combination of AARP volunteers and probably some city departments and such. You're going to need, the water and the different entities that make up Santa Fe to help analyze where we are and what sort of things we're going to need to do to make it an age-friendly community. So assessments first.
And I will share what Gary said to me, which was that it has been stalled for 5 months. My understanding is that it seems and it sounds like it's stuck in procurement. But that might be what's going on. And I'm gonna say I know because I've been an intern. Procurement does not necessarily mean the funding does not exist. It just means it's not moving forward. And so if the funding exists, then this should move forward because it's literally on a timeline. And it's a 5-year window. The resolution passed. We supported it as a committee. We support it moving forward still. Even more so now we've had time to really learn more about because when we got it presented to us, it was like a week. We had like a week to find out about it. And the more that I have learned over the past few months, but I've been wondering, like, did it pass? And I just thought it didn't pass. But then when I found out it did, I'm like,
Was there a budget associated with it?
was, let's see, the fiscal impact report.
I mean, because I mean, if it wasn't part of the city's budget, then it's not funded.
So
Well,
it
the
says,
fiscal impact said $20,000
it says
for the
20,000 for
consultant.
fiscal year 2025.
And the $20,000 is coming from where?
Contractual professional services, it says.
Ah, so that depends. If it wasn't in the budget, $20,000 to a specific department or division as a line item in their budget, then it's not budgeted.
It says 20,000 non-recurring Fund 100. It's signed off. Yeah, we need to get together with Maria Tucker and find out
Yeah,
what's going on with
because if
this.
they didn't approve her budget to have that, then it's not in her budget. And the delay would be until it's in her budget. Because we can't spend any money without it being in the budget, otherwise it's a felony. And nobody as an employee wants to do that. You know, spend money or obligate money from the city without it being approved. And so maybe they're gonna do it as a one-time project cost. I think there's money
It says
associated with that.
non-recurring. It says
So,
non-recurring.
so that's a possibility. They're still approving that list of funding. I think they were doing it next week. So maybe it's on that list. I don't know. I'm not tuned into that. And also, if it is going through the procurement process, there's so many items going through procurement in general right now that they're overwhelmed. They have a small staff and they're overwhelmed. So that's
Well,
just
that's what
used
the
as
city says
pipeline.
for everything. I'm just gonna say it. That's what they say for everything, and I understand
And
it, but
and they hired more
something has-
people. They hired more people for
when
procurement.
something
And
has a timeline, then we
Yeah.
need it to be addressed.
And that's
So,
probably why they haven't signed it, because they don't want to start the clock.
well, the clock is already ticking.
So they haven't signed the application, is my understanding.
Nope, they haven't moved anything forward at all, and
And when does the clock start? When they sign it?
well, the resolution passed.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean it's actually signed
Well,
officially.
it should be moving forward.
Yeah. So until the city manager or the mayor signs it, I guess that's when the clock starts and the obligation is in place.
Yeah, I
So
would need to ask that of
Someone has their
Carrie.
hand up. Meiji,
Miji.
I'm sorry.
Cherie, this question is for you. Maybe you can answer it. So is there an overall score that the city has to get to be designated? You said we are at like 60.
Yeah, we're at 60, but I think that was just a one survey thing. As
Okay.
I understand it, and I may be wrong, but as I understand it, we just have to, you know, do our evaluation of where we are and what we need to do, and then just meet all of our goals. And we will be considered an age-friendly community. There's no number associated with it. Each city, each place is individual. And AARP, you know, supports our efforts to become better, however we decide to do it.
So question number 2, I have a sidewalk thing. So could we score really, really high and our sidewalks are still disgusting? And still get AARP certification?
I, as a person, would think not. I would think that sidewalks are a pretty big priority. And so I think that that would probably be something that would be tackled fairly quickly by the people who are pushing forward this project. Because, you know, we now have bicycle paths, so, you know, that helps, but we need to have sidewalks that the rest of us can walk on with a cane or a walker. Or a wheelchair. And I do know that I've seen a lot of the curbs being cut for the wheelchairs and stuff around town. So I think that the city is making an effort, and I'm very happy to see that. But yeah, I would think that's a no-brainer, that we have to have decent sidewalks in order to be age-friendly.
Yeah.
So that's got to be a priority.
And to speak on that sidewalk, what's happening now, we're going after $1 million for repair and maintenance. I believe that's gonna happen next week, if not soon. Um, in addition, we hired another staff member in Public Works who's gonna be working on what's called an NOV, which is a notice of violation. So if your sidewalk in front of your house is not, has been broken up by a tree on your yard, you're gonna have to repair it.
Yeah.
And the enforcement of those things is gonna start happening now because that's become a priority. People have indicated that the city's not enforcing it. Now the city will. And when it comes to city properties, that's where we're gonna be looking at repairing where high density population of city-owned facilities has to be repaired as a priority. So that's the discussion that's going on now. So it's moving forward because of the resolution that was passed and supported by this committee on sidewalk repair and pedestrian walkways and trails. That's part of that initiative. So it's going forward. How soon? It all depends on how much. They're also going to go out for a $30+ million bond to repair streets and sidewalks. And so we're gathering that information to put on the bond election, I believe in November. So what will that do? That's going to come at a cost for individual households on their property tax because it's going to be voted on by the public. So if when you see it up for votes, encourage your neighbors to vote for it. It's going to be a small increase, but it's going to benefit everyone.
Daniel, I have a question. So
Sure.
last year, and I was actually going to bring this up under another item, but it involves sidewalks because the sidewalks are actually buckling too. It's not just weeds, but I can bring it up with the weeds when we get to it. Down Paseo de Peralta and various areas in that whole area that's around the mall, which is a high resource area. It has pharmacy, it has food, it has all kinds of things that meet daily needs in that area. The sidewalks are buckling really badly, several inches. So it's very dangerous. When you report it to the city says, well, we're not responsible for those sidewalks. That's the state.
It depends if it's in
It
front of.
depends. But let me
It
finish
depends,
let me finish my thought. So when I report it to the city and they say it's the state, they don't tell me who to contact. They don't report it themselves to the state. They just let it sit. And I had to go find, it took me several hours to try and figure out who to report it to get the weeds on the other side of the street fixed because they said it was the state. And so, is there any way that we can streamline this process so that the city, when we find out what is state, that they direct the person to who to go to?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, because I found out the hard way because, I remember you asked me to go look at that. And then when I tried to find a way to expedite a solution, eventually I ran into a brick wall where they told me that I can't go, even though I know who's going to end up doing the work, I'm not allowed to direct that person the information that it must go through constituents and services. Then it filters down and prioritized through them to the streets departments, contact people. Even though I'm in public works, we couldn't get them to get on it quicker. And that's a bureaucratic process that I'm not in support of. But they want to centralize the reporting of it for open records purposes as well.
Yeah, I'm getting to that because it's not accessible, so I'm getting to that.
Yeah. And as far as communicating a solution that is not associated with the city, that would be probably part of that team's responsibility to decide to educate themselves on what answer to give. If it's the state, then to have that information available to themselves to dispense that information. And as far as being able to report that online, we're working again on the website to be a little more accessible. Maybe also have a bit different way of communicating a concern other than on the website. is an option. And that's something where we can bring to them.
If a disabled person goes to you, it should be filed as an ADA complaint because I reported it as an ADA complaint. So that should be filed as one.
Yeah.
So, I have notes in the chat. It says, can I mention how a person, this is directly to me, so you probably all can't see it. Can I mention how a person whose property abuts a sidewalk does have to manage their weeds and trees that block sidewalk egress and access, regardless of whether there is an HOA or no HOA? And yeah, so the way that the city has our sidewalk laws, everyone whose property is adjacent to a sidewalk, whether it's a business or a house, they are responsible for the sidewalk maintenance in full, for replacing it, for repairing it, and for the weeds, for the snow removal, for ice removal, for everything according to city law. And so, of course, nothing is happening because there's been no enforcement by the city for our sidewalks to be cleared or maintained or repaired or accessible. And so, the process that is in place, when I have told people across the country that I know of how our city is functioning or not functioning, they are really shocked that the city is not the one who just does it and maintains the city. And, you know, even if they send a bill, even if they say, you know, we're going to give you a 10-day notice, you have weeds growing in your sidewalk. If they're not removed, we're going to remove them. And it's going to cost approximately this much. You know, I don't know. I don't have the answers. I really don't. But we know that the city is not being maintained overall for anything by the city itself in the areas that the city is responsible for, or by private property and businesses. And so part of this age-friendly resolution would bring awareness to that.
Yep.
Part of it would be, because this is community involved. So to me, it's like, this is what is an essential first step, which is bringing the community together to identify what the issues are that we are all being affected by and how do we resolve them. And that's essential, which was the part that I loved the most about this age-friendly resolution. It's not top-down, it's community-led.
Yes.
Yeah, and land use and public works are working together with the new director and with the new staff member that we have on public works side, they're formulating an action plan to go out and do enforcement, like it needs to be done. In the past, I can't tell you a good reason why they weren't enforcing it. A lot probably had to do with a shortage of staff, probably a lot had to do with the consideration of economics of people recovering from the pandemic. But now that we're past that, I think we're going forward with taking action. And so people in the public need to be aware that now what wasn't being done is probably starting to we're going to start taking action on things that need to happen. It's not popular to get a $500 ticket for a sidewalk and maybe you can't afford to fix it, but then as homeowners, we have responsibilities, and that comes with it. If someone slips and falls on the sidewalk in front of you, guess whose insurance is going to get hit? You know, it's not going to be the city's.
I'm gonna read a comment real quick and then Mijia, I'll come to you, okay?
Okay.
So, the statement is, one idea is that title companies don't often give the guidelines to newer home or commercial property buyers. And there's a huge influx of new property owners. The buck can start with closing companies, which are just title companies, so that would basically be awareness of what their responsibilities are when they purchase that property through the city. So that is an idea. And then, Miji, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that the public is not as aware of city regulations as everyone thinks they are. When I started working on not only sidewalks, but the weeds and the tree overgrowth where you get hit in the face walking on the sidewalk, and would talk to my neighbors, they think the city is responsible or should be. You know, every week we get this rah-rah email from the city of Santa Fe about how wonderful things are. I have yet to get anything about shoveling, taking care of your sidewalks, and our responsibilities as homeowners or citizens. And I wish that we would have, I want to say, another newsletter that tells everybody that. Right now, we're having a parking on the sidewalk problem in my neighborhood, which is a huge violation. And it has taken months to get an answer from the traffic department through the constituent services thing. So if there was one wish that I had, would be that the city communicate better on an ongoing basis with the constituents. And as far as the city taking care of sidewalks, I replace sidewalks in San Francisco. I replace sidewalks in Louisville, Kentucky. Most cities require homeowners to take care of those sidewalks in front of their house. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I wrote down what you said because it's very valuable. I wanted to say though that we did try, as the mayor's committee when it snowed, about 2 years ago, and we actually did get a text message that went out to remind people to clear their sidewalks, and we asked for it last winter and we were told no. And so yeah, so it's a problem and we do need to communicate, and we've been asking the city for that. So they said that they were no longer using the text messaging for just random notifications. It needed to be for dire emergencies only. And so I'm like, we still need to communicate these things. It's something that can cause physical harm to someone if they slip on ice. If the sidewalks are not maintained, all of it. So it's a health and safety issue, and the city does need to communicate all of this. And we've tried. So, and I think we should try again. Eli, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Eli here. I was just going to mention that Kendra and I, 2 or 3 years ago, we actually worked on a flyer, an informational flyer about duties and responsibilities of different entities in the city, whether it's a homeowner, business owner, the city itself. And there was some other flyers that were developed that were also really good. And yeah, we did have the emergency manager send out a text. And in my mind, there is a lot of opportunity here to inform the public and try to get folks who sort of see it as their civic duty, or let business owners understand that these are the obligations of being in commerce. And this is what your responsibility is to your community and your clients and your overall involvement in the community. One other thing, and I've worked a lot with folks in New York City when it came to litigation that was brought against the city with sidewalks. And they came up with a lot of different avenues of how to make sure that we prioritized ADA concerns and developed a process so that you could have regular maintenance issues, but if it was something that was identified as a disability and an impact to programs and services under Title II, they would expedite it or create a way of making sure that there was something in a queue where things would be bumped up if it was an ADA issue identified from a person with disabilities, or if it was an emergency issue, things like that. I know it's really challenging for the city because they don't have enough staff to really fulfill all these requests, but it could be an opportunity to think about what are some procedures and even policies that the city could develop with a fully functional staffing arrangement so that we can identify ADA issues and make sure that those are prioritized accordingly. So I think there's a lot of opportunity here, as mentioned, to educate the community and businesses and the city itself, but also maybe potentially to come up with some policies and procedures that can look at how do we prioritize access issues, emergency issues over like daily maintenance issues. That's
Yes, and yeah, and talking about maintenance, on sidewalks and even city facilities, previously it's been non-existent. This year is the first time I believe they're actually trying to implement a program for each of those. Again, this year they're actually looking at how much is it going to cost to fix some of the buildings, HVAC systems, installation, basics, because they deferred maintenance basically means they didn't do any maintenance, and so the building's falling apart, and so sometimes the buildings fall apart so much that maybe you need a new building, and so they're assessing the facilities division, and also I'm looking at where the deficiencies of accessibility are on those buildings. And when we did just a basic look at City Hall, we determined about $200 million worth of problems. And so when I saw that from the architect, I said, well, let's get a new building because this is not worth the money to spend on fixing things. And that's what you're going to find down the road is it's going to be a bigger thing to bite down on and get it back in place. A lot of things fell off the list when the world kind of changed. We're trying to catch up on that. And I'll tell you this, the city is committed to working, to doing as much as it can. It is seeing ADA as a priority, and in some cases, ADA is the catalyst to get things done. So this committee plays a very big role in pressing the issue, bringing the issue, and then we move it up the chain and they do address it. I mean, so I say just keep going, keep doing it. ARP is going to be a partner in that.
So on that
I mean,
note, how do we get this ARP resolution to move forward? Because that's
what
what
I'm
I'm
going to do is I'm
reading.
going to call Maria and jump on it. And I don't know if Maria has the authority. It may be bogged down with Miss Tucker, Maria Tucker's being told by the city manager to wait until they're ready to put the funding in place. That could be the case. I don't know. I'll find out why. It's not with the intent not to do it. I think it's just there are procedures that must be adhered to, especially since we're under the limelight because we just successfully completed our audits. We're going to try to do the audits early this coming year, and so that we can get funding in the future. We want to be in good standing, and not following procedure is one of those findings that they had. They said that we weren't following procurement process, and we need to follow that. So maybe that's why it's bogged down in the bureaucratic process, for lack of a better word. But it's not the intent of the mayor or anybody to not do something that they support. So it takes longer than you think, and this committee is aware of this. I mean, how long did you guys fight for and advocate for change that you've received thus far? I mean, it's still
Too long.
It's
Too
still an
long.
ongoing battle. And
Yeah.
even I mean, I experience it and I'm inside and I'm trying to affect change and this city is an interesting city. But it's able to change in comparison to other cities I've worked with. They're a little more open to how can we do it rather than, well, we can't do it.
Well,
They've-
part of it would be participating with us and listening to us and meeting with us when we ask, but that would
Oh
be
yeah,
great.
they're listening. They're listening. And
They're not meeting with us.
well, yeah, because they're all over the place. I think you know that. I mean, and it's just we're one of the issues that they're on top of other things. So,
So one
but
of my
that's why
questions is, can we invite Maria Sanchez
yes,
to our next meeting? I've already invited Gary Williams to our next meeting.
let's do that.
And I am wondering, because this is a discussion about actions needed. I don't know if we should put it in writing that we are wanting an update from the city to document it, because it seems like when we put things in writing, they actually start sometimes moving more often than not, rather than just having it be all verbal.
Let me talk to Ms. Tucker and find out what is the actual status
Okay.
and what is the dilemma. If it's nothing that's too difficult to understand or to that we shouldn't be too worried about, you can decide if you want to make it part of what kind of action can be taken, or a letter of support, or letter of concern that can be sent to the leadership. Not so much a something negative, something more positive that you're
Yeah.
encouraging
No,
them to
it's
move
to say we
faster.
support this and it's been being
Mhm.
stalled for 5 months already. This is essential. It's an essential component of ADA compliance in the city of Santa Fe is how I'm seeing it.
Mhm.
Eli, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Eli here. I just wanted to acknowledge in the chat, Dee Dee said maybe PNM and New Mexico Gas and City Utility Division could put this into their billing circulars. And before that, she mentioned landlord tenant information on city sidewalks. Website for sidewalks maintenance could be placed. I think those are all really great ideas. And one strategy, just to throw it out there, would be maybe we do something again around snow removal and the obligations of different entities in the city. And that's something we have a few months to prepare for. But that's a
Mhm.
good way of talking about sidewalks. I think that people intuitively kind of understand that they have to remove snow. Hopefully it'll actually snow this winter. But that could be something I think maybe we could work on, share that messaging with the city, with Brian Williams, to bring this issue back up. Of course, the bigger question about accessible sidewalks, maintenance, ADA policies and procedures is also on the table. So I'm not saying not to do that as well, but I'd be happy to kind of think about how we can start getting some messaging together for snow removal and ice removal. September is National Preparedness Month, so that might be another opportunity if we can get it out that quick. But snow probably doesn't really hit us till I want to say October-ish, November, give or take. So we have a little more time. But that could be just, like I said, an effective way of getting communication out there about sidewalks.
We could also just turn our snow flyer into a weeds flyer and just ask the city to distribute it. We have a flyer. We just need to change out the wording and the images. Just use the same template, use the same everything, and have it be sent out because it's becoming a really major problem. And what I'm experiencing with the city is that I'm not going to say that they're not responding, but I'm saying it feels like they're not responding. Because when I go to Daniel and I say this is an ADA compliance issue that is preventing an entire building of seniors from safely getting groceries, and I get told I have to go through constituent services, which my experience has been that they take 4 months to reply to me. And literally someone hacked down the weeds last time. Praise that person. I don't know who it was. It was very much a do-it-yourself job. It was not the city.
I
But it
cannot,
allowed people to go get groceries safely down the sidewalk.
I
And
cannot comment.
yeah, so it's, it shouldn't take 4 months for weed removal when you report it to constituent services. Like it just shouldn't. By the time they reported that it was done, someone else did it. It was that shouldn't be.
Yeah, and
So
having been here for the snow and the ice, um,
He's from Texas, by the way, so this was
yeah,
very
yeah, I'm
hard for
from,
him to deal with. I
yeah,
remember calling him and he was almost getting in a wreck in his truck.
yeah,
Drive slow, Daniel.
yeah. Well, anyway, with a snow issue, yeah, it's early enough to where we can start campaigning that and be, I can talk to, this- to the cities, the departments on how we're gonna publish that. Where can we publish that? Brian and I have now established a good relationship. I think we can start seeing what we can do. Um, we're well, of course, we're going to redo things on the flyer with branding. That's what the city wants to do, so that's how we're going to follow their process. Um, Parking again. Now that after I went and looked at the parking, that's majority of the parking for accessible parking locations is on the shaded side. So when it snows and ice keeps setting up, it never melts. So I'm still having to go look where we're going to relocate parking. I don't know if that's going to happen this season, but that's on our radar as far as that is the solution to relocate accessible parking, maybe even cluster some parking an area that we can maintain a little bit easier than it being spread out. Because we do have our garages, they're working on making those a little more, improving those. So it's a
I
lot
have
of
a
efforts.
question about the garage, but I'll get that to you
Okay,
later.
yeah, get me yeah, we're looking at all the garages.
Yeah. So I need to move on from this item, but I really
Yeah.
appreciate this conversation and hope that this is getting it to move forward.
Yes, it's
And
420.
it's no, it's very, very important that this AARP resolution actually start being acknowledged. It's actually in direct alignment with what we are trying to do as a committee to get the city to be in ADA compliance. So it
Kathy,
supports every work. Yeah.
Honorata here. Before you move on, could I have permission to speak?
Yes, please.
Just a question regarding the AARP report. It was mentioned that there's 15% of people with disabilities in Santa Fe. And would you happen to know where those statistics were taken from? Is it from the census or some other source?
I honestly don't know. It is one of the AARP information that I received to get ready for this, but I would assume probably from the census. That would make sense, but I really don't know.
The reason why I'm asking is because I have done extensive research in our city with respect to the data, and it's kind of muddied water to try to get the more exact numbers, and everything's very vague. But one thing that I have discovered in my own research was that there was huge discrepancy between the census and the CDC reports.
The consortium website it has.
Yes, and the CDC website seems to be more accurate, as the census is only a collection of people who self-identify as people with disabilities. And the CDC has information from the health providers. So just wanted to bring that up, because that could, in our case, it was basically it went up from 12.7% report on the CDC on a census to 24% based on a CDC.
Okay,
Yes, that sounds accurate.
yeah.
Right.
I
And New
wondered, so
Mexico-
just going by the license plates that are requested. Handicap license
such a
plate.
good
Not
point.
everyone drives.
Yeah.
Well,
And New
since the
Mexico, New
Yeah, since the
Mexico have a-
2010, the definition of permanent disability under the ADA has broadened. So that kind of increased the numbers of who qualifies as a disabled individual.
Okay,
And last time I saw the statewide data from the CDC, it was 30% of New Mexicans have a disability.
Mhm.
So it's actually higher than the national average. And I think it's now 31%, if I remember right, seeing the latest data, but it's at least 30%.
And that also leads me to kind of what we have done here in Stanford is we had directed the city to try to get some more exact numbers in terms of the concentrations of people with disabilities in different parts of the city in effort to try to prioritize the infrastructure in those areas. And we had used the services for people with disabilities and the blind and deaf in the state to get an idea where those people reside. But I'm pretty sure there's other ways that you guys can retrieve those numbers as well. And that has been extremely helpful in our case.
Yeah, thank you, Honorata. So, and I do need to move on, and Cherie, thank you. I really, really appreciate your time here and communicating all of this. I think that it's very critical that this move forward. Yes,
Just
thank you.
real quick,
Go ahead.
Sherry, I didn't know if I caught that, but is the report public yet? Is that something that's accessible, or is it still in process?
which report are you referring to?
The scorecard that you were mentioning.
Oh, well, Gary gave it to me, so I think it's probably accessible on the AARP.org website. If you check there. I'm not sure. Some of the stuff I could not access as a non-employee. I'm a volunteer. And some of the stuff that he gave me, you know, was strictly stuff that he could access. But I think that those statistics might be available on the AARP website.
So they're not compiled in any one like form or report or document.
It was one AARP New Mexico document for AARP.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we
And
have that on the
It's a-
attachments, right?
it's a livability index, and it says http livabilityindex.aarp.org/search/Santa Fe, New Mexico /United States. So there is an address for it. Too small.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I will try and find it, and if I can find it, or if I can't find it, I'll ask Gary. But if I can find it, I will include it in the packet in the next meeting.
Okay,
Thank you so much, Sherry.
sure.
Next item is Reflections on Disability Pride Month 2024. Who wants to go?
Yeah, I'll go first. So for folks who may not know, we had a number of events in partnership with the city. So we created a non-for-profit called Disability Pride New Mexico, and we had two big events. One was the Disability Pride Parade, the first in New Mexico. That was on July 13th. The second one was our second annual Disability Accessibility Awards banquet. Both were really successful. A lot of lessons learned about how we can make things even better for next year, like we learned from the previous year. So it's really what astonished me was two things. One was really the support from the city and the support from the community and families coming together to make these things work. We needed all kinds of different folks that could help support with the parade, whether it was water, all the entities that came and tabled on the plaza. So it was just a real community effort. The other thing was, you know, I was putting together some of the budget for it, and I was getting really annoyed by the spreadsheets and all this work, and like, wow, this is painful, right? And then I went out to have dinner with my family and my son, and I was just there in line, just kind of minding my own business, trying to get through the evening. And a gentleman came over to me. He said, "Oh, hey, Eli, I was at the Accessibility Awards." Well, it was one of the dentists from Dentistry for Kids who got one of the awards. And he was full of smiles, and he was like, "You know, we do all this work all the time and we never get acknowledged. And thank you so much." And it really kind of hit me, the impact that we have for some folks who never get these kinds of acknowledgements. Then he said, "You know, we got to do better. Like we don't do enough for kids. We need to be even more accessible." And so it was enlightening in the sense that we got that acknowledgement and we were able to share that with them, but also that it encouraged them to do even more. So it kind of hit me that, you know, a lot of these things really resonate with our community. So again, thank you for everyone that allowed our events to happen. And we look forward to more events. And we got, again, like I mentioned, lots of positive press. And thank you for everyone, including everyone here in this meeting, for making it happen. So appreciate it.
Anyone else? So, for me, I also want to say that we had, in addition to that, I had been trying for several months to get the film Crip Camp shown and reached out to different venues and heard nothing back because it has to be shown for free. So there was no response. And they're probably wondering, who is this person like asking us to donate, like what they probably assumed was thousands of dollars worth of, you know, tickets for free. But I reached out to the city public library and was like, literally last minute. And I always say librarians are magical. And if something needs to happen or you need something that you can't find, go to the library. And the librarians absolutely made that happen. And so we had Crip Camp showing for as far as I know, it might be the first time in the city of Santa Fe. I don't remember it showing when it was national. The librarian, Jessica, was so excited that I had asked and reached out and was so excited to make it happen. And also I wanted to say that she offered and wanted to continue this collaboration between the Mayor's Committee on Disability and the public library system to have year-round awareness or tabling or events or films or things that promote disability awareness and inclusion. And so I promised her, and we had said this like in January, but all the drama going down probably made it not happen. But we were gonna make a calendar of different things to celebrate or to bring awareness of with the city and also the community throughout the year. One thing that I was aware of is that the next major one is Disability Employment Awareness Month. And so we wanted to, I thought to reach out to them for some kind of tabling and awareness around that. And also there's the Office for Disability Disability Awareness and ODEP. What does that mean? Office for Disability Employment Policy. They have, you know, posters and all kinds of things that can be printed. And so I was going to send that to the library. So I just wanted to like say all of that we want to be collaborating with the library because they are a central part of the community and information and awareness. And they were also very incredibly excited to be included in Disability Pride Month. And so even though it was like totally last minute that we pulled them in, they were so thrilled and so thankful. And so I just want to say, you know, that all of this work is statewide technically for Disability Pride Month. But the impact that we made on Santa Fe, I think, was really great. And really positive and really supportive of the work of this committee, as well as the work that all of the other disability and disabled advocates across the state are doing. And so I just wanted to thank everyone for that. I think that if we can organize and collaborate and really bring disabled people from across the state together, I think that it will change. To me, it will change the state. It absolutely, it has to. It just will. And so I just wanted to add that. And if anyone else has anything to add, please do. Go ahead, Pam.
Well, I just want to thank everybody. I just never had no hope for change, but I've never had any support. Now I have a supportive group of people who see a way to make this, I guess it's my civil rights, that I'm as much a part of this community as anyone else. And it really, personally, doing that Disability Pride Month, July was really important for me. And I'm finding friends who are temporarily abled, becoming old and disabled. And I take my Pride shirt out, which I wore today, and I show it to my aging friends. And they go, yeah, I'm going to use my handicap sticker and I don't have to tell anybody my personal medical history. I'm disabled and proud of it. So it's spreading in unusual ways just through me showing a t-shirt to someone who's thinking, oh, this has happened to me and now I have to have a handicap placard on my car and I don't want anyone to know my history. And you know, you're entitled to be part of the group and it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. So thank you.
Thank you, Pam. Anyone else? Go ahead, Daniel.
Well, what I felt good about was and was a good surprise was when I got to see kids in the parade with
Mm.
disabilities feeling like that was their day to be happy, not to feel like they had a problem or something, but that they could celebrate life. And to like it's like my grandson, until you tell them, until you tell children they're disabled, they don't know. They think they can conquer the world. And so it's our responsibility to help children participate in every way possible. And this helps them to see themselves in the community. And that's what we need to do is, if anything this committee has done is helped one kid's, feel good. And so we got to continue that. No matter how hard it is or how tiring it is, or if you don't want to do a spreadsheet, too bad. It's important. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Kendra?
I have a good majority of my youth from my program, since I work with New Vistas, participated in the parade, and they keep talking to me more about it. They're like, well, let's see what we can do next year or something like that. And, I have another youth that was at the awards, and she was able to give out programs and everything, just getting her to know more of other people in the city and what maybe she might want to do in the future, is really it's very awesome to see and hear and kind of get them more engaged. Like, I was never involved in policy making or government. Frankly, I still have a little bit of trouble getting my head wrapped around it. But having at least them get more of that experience is nice to see, and having that pride of being disabled, having different abilities, and just connecting and knowing that they were being seen is awesome.
Yeah, thank you, Kendra.
Thank
Gina
you.
Maria?
So a long time ago, I can't remember when it was, maybe a couple of years ago, when COVID was really bad and everyone was complaining there weren't enough workers, I did this thing in my head. I just developed this program that works with kids in high school, and it's kind of like an add-on to high school. It's like they come together from all parts of the state, maybe 3 or 4 weekends a year. And then the first year you kind of talk about goal settings and what do you want to be when you grow up and what would it take to get you there, la la la. The second year you bring in business leaders and community people and you match them up and see if there's any way to create some kind of mentorship. And at the same time, you're building advocacy skills within the youth, the disabled youth, and teaching them that, they can stand up for themselves and they have rights and yada, yada, go through the whole thing. And you end up on a budget year in the roundhouse and them talking to their political leaders. So that's, just one of those things I have rolling around in the back of my head, holy hell. Thank you, Kendra. It would be a fabulous, fabulous program.
Yeah, we have plans. We are already developing what we want to do for the next year. A lot of it is organizing the organization, and then to be able to function and outreach and really include people in the way that they want to be included. And so that's definitely part of what we are planning is we wanted to be at least at the very minimum this year at Disability Day at the Roundhouse. So that's been at least our minimum plan. We can do that with what we have. We might be able to do more depending on what happens and if we can get organized better and really plan things better. But I think that Disability Day at the Roundhouse, tabling, outreaching, that will be impactful in and of itself. So, but yeah, we definitely need to plan more and just to me, the sky's the limit. So if you have an idea, just say it, like make it happen, say it. Elijah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that if you guys need any help with the organizing part, especially around the roundhouse and everything, that's what I'm really good at. So I'm more than willing to help any of y'all with that if you want to reach out to me.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I will definitely be in touch. Thank you. Angelique, go ahead.
I do want to say, for this being the second Pride that we participated in, it truly was an honor to work alongside all of you and to see everything come together. It was so heart touching when I saw everybody marching in the parade and standing in front of City Hall together and the awards coming together and people truly being honored for their work and their participation in this city. So I want to thank you all for your hard work because it truly was a pleasure to work alongside all of you guys.
Thank you, Angelique. Anyone else? I think that's a pretty good summary of July.
Take a break, but come January, time to work.
So yeah, I know we want to change the world. I think we truly and sincerely can. All right, so next is the city website, constituent services, request portal not accessible, no way to identify ADA related needs such as current weeds and sidewalk issues throughout the city. And we had mentioned this like in February, how the online portal does not have any way to identify, check a box, or even just to reach out to you as an ADA complaint and then have that move forward. And that's kind of why I'm bringing this issue up. Our online constituent services portal is not accessible. I'm sorry to say it. It's just not. It requires the ability to drop a pin on a map, or it requires the ability to know what address it is to report an issue. But in reality, a lot of disabled people can't do that. And a lot of my blind friends across the country, I have numerous, it's like a handful of blind friends across the country cannot report constituent services, constituent needs to their cities for the exact same reason that we have on our own portal. And without identifying disability or an ADA compliance need, it effectively is hiding that it's a disability need. And when I went to you thinking, well, I'm reporting this as a disability access issue because it is, it's the weeds, and so the weeds on Paseo de Peralta were blocking the sidewalk again above 12 inches, blocking the width of the sidewalk and also the height. And we're getting caught on carts and things like that. And then on the other side of the street, the Vargas Mall has not been clipping their bushes back. So all of those junipers are literally blocking the width of the sidewalk to be very narrow. So on either side, you can't access. And so I reported that to you. And I also reported the bridge over here. And you told me that you tried. And I sincerely believe that you did, because I know this is not the first time I've been through this.
And the thing is, it has a section for specifically weeds. Okay, I mean, on the constituent side, there's a big thing that says weeds, report weeds. And I'm sure everybody gets on there and complains, and it's probably packed with everywhere there's weeds. For it to be an ADA complaint, I'm still giving out how that can happen because again, it's on the sidewalk that is next to the mall. And it's an encroachment on the public right of way. So that becomes an opportunity for a notice of violation of encroachment on the public right of way more so than an accessibility issue because the sidewalk is accessible other than that bush is growing on there, but the sidewalk complies. So it's not a compliance issue of the sidewalk, it's more of the encroachment of that business owner onto our public right of way. And so it's not really the ADA that's requiring it to be removed. It's more of, it's a standard city requirement that needs to be adhered to. And that's an enforcement issue. So, I mean, we could find a way to make everything an ADA issue, but
But if a disabled
We-
person is reporting it that it's impeding their access, then it becomes a disability issue.
it's also a disability concern as well, but it's not primarily. And so that's where, when that happens, that it should elevate it that much more. Okay,
And there's no way
as-
to do that.
and that's,
Daniel,
and that's what has to be talked about. That's what we have to talk about with that division to make sure that we find a way to prioritize those kinds of things that way. Who's
Daniel,
calling?
this is Honorata.
Yes,
Hi, so under the ADA, there's a section for protruding objects, and under the ADA,
yes, for
the
blind. Mhm.
Right, so the protruding objects require that nothing protrudes in a right of way more than 4 inches between the I think 24 inches off the ground to 7 feet high.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
if the bushes reduce the right of way to below 30 I believe 36 inches, then it does fall under the ADA.
Yeah, and that's where the actual offense is a violation of the public right of way. And that's the primary enforcement tool that would be used because the city does not enforce Title III, it enforces Title II. And that's now a title. And so where we can enforce a governmental enforcement is through the public right of way violation, not the ADA violation. And that's more the line of thinking that if it was a city property and the bushes were in that way, like that's being described, then that would be a Title II violation.
But I
And then
reported that as a Title II violation across the street, which is because that's city property. And then I was told the same thing that I
Okay.
had to go through to constituent services.
and yeah, that's where we're getting into that.
So you're
how-
saying it's a Title II, but then I have to go through constituent services. I still
Yeah,
can't.
and
go
that's
through you, even though
that's
it's
where
Title II.
that's where I'm in opposition of that part because I'm not the only person who is employed with the city who is in opposition of having to bring everything to constituent services and then funnel it down. That seems to bog down the issue rather than I know who I can talk to at streets and say, hey, can we get this situated? If it's ours, let's get it done. Or I could talk to the director and say, this has become a bigger problem than it needs to be. Can we just get some guys out there to chop it down?
Right, but that
Um,
wasn't your response to me. Your response to me was that I had to adhere to the
Yeah.
city constituent services.
Yeah, that's what
and
I
wait
was
4 months.
instructed. That's what I was instructed. And my way would have been much better, but I'm required to follow their procedure that's currently in place. That doesn't mean I can't work to change that. And that's what needs to happen is that we need to change the issue of constituent services having everything under them. And it's become a dumping ground of everything. It's just a hodgepodge of complaints. And the individuals involved in there sometimes don't know where to send it or how to categorize it.
And they're not ADA enforcement, so they don't understand
Yeah,
it and they
and
don't
they're
know
not
what to
ADA
do,
enforcement.
but you
Correct.
do. And I went to
Yeah.
you
Yes,
and I went to you.
yes, you did. And we tried to get someone's attention and something got done, but that shouldn't
For
be
part
the
of
way.
it, yeah, for part
That
of it.
shouldn't be that way, though. It should just be, there should be a cleaner way of doing it. When does constituent services apply and when do we have some degree of enforcement? In the current setting that I'm in, I'm under Public Works. So my authority is limited through layers of of individuals above me. And so prior other cities that I've been involved with, I didn't have that problem. I could actually go to the director and tell them, get it done. In this case, I can't tell the director what to do.
So on that note, how many more months do we have to wait until we're moved?
A month, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be the one they pick either. So,
Yeah.
but if that happens, you know, I have a lot of goals. But they're telling me it can take 2 weeks, you know, to make an offer make an offer. If I'm made the offer, if I'm not made the offer, well, then we're going to have fun. But we'll see. I mean, I can't tell you what's going to happen, but you guys are going to be moving probably by the end of this month. Somebody will be handling it if it's not me.
See, that would be really nice to know, and so that we can plan for that, because like.
Yeah, I know,
everything.
but then, you know, they have to follow personnel procedures and HR rules that they can't disclose until they
Heads
make an offer.
up, heads up.
I wish I knew, right? But no
So,
one's telling me. They're all
I'm just
keeping it.
gonna,
They smile, but they don't tell me nothing.
yeah.
You know?
Like,
They
go
don't-
ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just kind of stepping in. You know, this is a fundamental problem, and I think the folks who are joining us from other states and jurisdictions about the authority of the ADA coordinator. And it's often the ADA coordinator gets thrown into employee-employer issues under Title I. There's like 4 people between them and authority, or people who can make actual decisions. So I think that's something that Chair Gish and I talk a lot about how do we situate the MCD so that it can be effective, and so that Daniel or whoever will take these positions will be able to have a more authority so that they can effectuate the ADA. What often happens is that you get folks like ADA coordinators who are meaning to do well, but they also need to get a paycheck, and they have a boss, and they have to manage, you know, what's going on in the office. And it's very, very hard because they can't always be the pusher, because then they'll be pushed aside themselves and they won't give you a voice. And so I think one way is to position the MCD so that it reports more directly to the mayor or the city manager.
In this case, it'll be the city manager.
Absolutely. And when I was at the Mayor's Office of People with Disabilities in New York City, it was the Mayor's Office for People with Disabilities. Our commissioner could talk directly with the mayor of New York City. And that meant, it didn't mean we got everything we wanted, but it meant that we were in the room when it happened, when it came to accessibility. And so I just hope that, you know, I think other jurisdictions have noticed that people would come to us and be like, where should this mayor's office or this MOPD or this accessibility office sit? Should it be in public works? Should it be in social services and civil rights? Usually we would say it needs to be as directly as you can to people who are making change and in authority to do so. And that's usually directly reporting to the mayor. So I think this isn't something that's unusual. It's happening. And I think there's some progress being made with the city if it does have it more direct reporting to people who can actually influence change.
Yeah, like I liked it in Philadelphia. Like in Philadelphia, I was in the mayor's office and we could affect change system-wide a lot better. And in El Paso, I started out under community development, but then I went under city management. In Brownsville, it was under personnel, and then I went under the city manager directly. And here it's under public works, but thanks to you guys, we're actually pushing to be under city manager, but also take on other components. You know, this is the equity and inclusion, which disabilities would become part of that. And we could do more for a lot more people. And so yeah, I'm hoping they don't make a political decision in the leadership of that new director's department, and that in fact they seriously give me consideration and give me the opportunity to affect change for not just people with disabilities, but for others.
Sorry to interrupt, Daniel, but your cat is mauling your paperwork.
Oh, it's okay. That's just paperwork that I can redo. My cat can get away with anything. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So I mean, guys, I'm looking forward to that. But then I'm also worry that if there's a setback to that, what are we going to do? You know.
Well, we have options.
Yes, you do. And I will do that. I'll do my best nonetheless.
Thank you. Yeah. So next item, and I am sincere, Daniel, in fixing that issue because disabled people can't report things right now and they're not being properly reported and identified as ADA issues, and that's a problem. So we need to
It's
get
part
that.
of the program access that I'm trying to address.
Okay.
Even if I'm not selected, that's still going to be on my radar.
Thank you. So next is discussion of Mayor 2024 State of the City Address and ongoing Title II ADA accessibility issues. And this is just an ongoing issue or ongoing discussion. We don't necessarily need to get into it. I actually was wondering who attended that because I know Pam, you were there. Daniel, you were there. Eli, you were there. Okay. So I'm wondering if the three of you can make a list for us of the access issues that you saw or experienced. And we can start that process to get the letter and to identify how to make that State of the City address actually accessible. How to get the ASL interpreters to actually stand beside the people who are speaking so that everyone can be included in that State of the City address and not just have them be shuffled off and hidden to the side. And actually making the recordings and everything accessible because I didn't even see a way to participate by Zoom. I just saw it be posted after the fact on YouTube and I was like, wow, they did record it, well, I would have attended by Zoom if I knew. But it should have just been, like what we've been working on, Daniel, of making everything accessible by default. That State of the City address should have been accessible by Zoom and just shared everywhere. And I did not see that at all. So if that could be added, because that's my issue and why I did not actually attend while it was live. But otherwise I would really appreciate just a list. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can be handwritten and just send it to me so that I can compile that and we can start working on that to make sure that next year's State of the City address is accessible. I would really.
Yeah, and we should have that ready by beginning of February.
Yeah.
They didn't bring up elements or discussion or statements of anything related to accessibility or disability or even achievements. Because they kind of put that together quickly. And of course, it's just one of those feel good kind of things that they do. Is it required to be broadcast at all? The answer is probably no. If you want to attend it, you can show up. If they can film it and then air it later, that's normal. Because it's not a meeting, it's a presentation or something like that. So it's not so much a required component to be accessible ongoing. But at the location, yes, as it's being done, yes, that should be more accessible. Sign language, like we talked about, closed captioning being bigger and better located. I also saw some parking issues should be enhanced temporarily if necessary. But for that to happen, as a committee and as myself, we have to be proactive and give them guidance so that when they're planning it, we've given them something in writing of what our expectations are and what our needs are. And then they can implement those as they move forward. And so that's what we got to do. Because when we gave them information, it was like the day before, and they're not listening to anybody the day before. They're barely listening to themselves. And so we need to be a little more proactive for our part. And it's not to say that we can't that we did something bad. We didn't. We could do better. And I think we all know we can. So I say I could do better. So and we will do it.
Yeah, so I just got a message that the interpreter Andrea is not able to stay after 5.
That's right.
And so I'm wondering if we have another interpreter. I'm almost done, so.
No, we have 2, but they both can't stay.
They both can't stay? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I am able to if you want to go over a little bit, I
Yeah,
can.
and just like 5 minutes.
No
on.
problem. No
Okay.
problem.
Thank you,
I
Andrea.
really appreciate that. Thank you, Andrea. So next, Eli, really quick.
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge in the chat, says maybe Mr. Lopez should have his phone number on the city website that actually reaches him. I don't know if that's something, Daniel, that's possible. But just wanted to,
I think I've published my cell phone, and because the landline, right, and plus, I'm better reached on my cell phone by anybody.
I'm gonna
So
double check that, Daniel, because last time I looked, your phone number was not on there.
okay, I'm gonna change that, and if it's not there, I'm gonna have that I'll enhance that.
Okay.
Because that's one of the things I want to have is for everyone to be able to reach me, and not and everybody, everybody. And so that's because it's you've experienced that. You can call me on my cell, and I'm usually gonna answer that, or you
Right.
text me on my cell, and I'm answering.
Yeah, thank you. Gina Maria, real quick.
Yeah, I did check today and it's not, so,
Okay.
Yeah, I do have my email though.
Yeah.
right,
So
yeah.
yeah, so if you want to send me an email, that's there. It comes straight to my cell phone. If you got a cell phone number, you need me to call you, email me your cell number or a phone number and I'll call you.
Thank you. And I will double check on that because it's been an ongoing need. So next is the, and I'm just gonna give a really quick summary. This is item 7G. Planning and moving forward to create Nothing About Us Without Us resolution on effective, inclusive community engagement and communication for all city communication and public city meetings, accessible documents, video captions, web access, language access. So I have been compiling notes, and it will be included in the next meeting, for an outline to actually start moving this resolution forward. We do have support from several counselors who have expressed that they would back this resolution. We all know with ASL in this meeting, with CART in this meeting, with Zoom, and everything else that we've been trying to do, that our city meetings overall are still not accessible to us and that they need to be. And so that's basically what this does. It's cultural inclusion, it's language inclusion, disability access and inclusion. It includes Spanish, it's intersectional. We want it to be fully intersectional. And
Yeah,
so,
it's important that any resolution going forward, and this is what you and I have talked about. Remember when we talked about the safe places? It was predominantly from Pride Month for LGBTQ. I brought to their attention that it needs to include people with disabilities, and we really, as a city, need to get away from single issues agendas like that and include all populations, and to include the component of accessibility features, architectural attitude and all that has to be in there. But we also take into consideration other populations' needs. And so Nothing About Us can apply to a lot of people.
yeah,
And
and
so,
it will, yeah.
so if we're gonna do this, we can do this and take the lead and hopefully get support from the other communities to push this to be done, especially the language issue. It has become something the community, the Hispanic population want to hear their government in their own language and want to participate in their own language. And so it is a priority for them. So you have support there.
Yeah.
And as far as hearing impairments and visual, again, together we can get all that done. I mean, like I told you, I'm working on standardizing what components need to be in place physically for all places that we provide meetings. And so that's being worked on. It's just finding the department that's going to take responsibility to making sure it is maintained. And that's what has to happen, because if they had their way, they would say everything has to be on me, and that's not realistic. That's not gonna happen. They have to, each department must be involved and take responsibility for their part in being accessible and available to all populations. So that's what I'm trying to get them to do.
Pam, go ahead.
I just want to mention architecture. The architects themselves are totally uneducated, so that when a building remodel or a new building like the teen center comes up for review, they haven't in their conscious, they don't have it, and the reviewers don't have it. But to me, we need to go into the educating architects themselves so that they don't even propose plans that are not going to be accessible.
And that's where, when we do a capital improvement that's gonna have a community center where people gather, like the teen center or a recreational center that has a meeting room, or a fire station that has a community center, that's part of the requirement that automatically it's hardwired for a loop system to be put in place, and that the device is also purchased along with the construction of that facility. No different than if you put in electrical wiring, or you put in plumbing, or you put in fire suppression systems, that is part of the fixture of the building, that it becomes a standard component of construction. It's not being done that way because no one's thought about making it that way. And we, as a Title II engineer, I think we can require it. And so when it goes out to bid to an architect, they design it with that in place. And so when it gets built and installed, that the people who install carpet aren't cutting wires, because we had it installed to where it can't be damaged.
And Pam, I just want to say really quickly that I learned very much how in the higher education departments that disability is not taught in on any level unless they are specializing in disability studies. And so my Master of Social Work program, the few things that they mentioned were actually incorrect. And so, you know, and that's the same with architecture. They're not taught ADA compliance to the extent that they need to be. I'm sure that they cover it maybe for an hour. That's just, you know, they say, oh, check that box. But we need genuine disability inclusion in higher education in every single program. And that means disabled people being the ones to bring up these issues and to really share what our experiences are with relation to whatever they're learning. Go ahead, Pam.
Well, I was buying plumbing fixtures today. There's every room and what is required, from hand bars to towel racks to TP holders to everything. And they just go through the checklist. And I'm thinking, what is the review process? Is there just a master checklist that everybody goes through to see that there's toilets and whatever? Is there a way to put the city's checklist, have it include the ADA specifics for those kinds of public spaces, for a bathroom, for a
1 second,
conference, for
1 second.
everything?
I just want to say, Elijah left, and so, and it's been more than 5 minutes, so I apologize.
Did you need it for the recording if any deaf watch it later?
I don't think that it's going to show up. But
Yeah, it is.
It may. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is like 3 to 5 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kathy, this is Honorata.
Yeah.
To answer the question about that checklist, there's a wonderful website that's called Toolkit. It is basically ADA Toolkit that is materials specifically created for municipalities that offer illustrations with numbers that they can use to create their plans or review the plans that are being presented to them.
Can you
So
send me a link
ADA
to that?
tool, yes, will do.
Yeah. Well, everyone knows here that I'm licensed as a
Hey, Daniel,
plan
can you
review and
let Angelique-
inspector.
Can you let Angelique in?
Yeah,
Sorry to interrupt.
Angelique, I'm sorry. Yeah, and so
And go
what's happening
to-
now is that I'm reviewing all capital improvement projects, street improvements. They send me the blueprints. I review them. I look for items that are deficient. Um, because I'm licensed to do that. If there's a problem, I tell them not that they have to correct it to respond in writing back to me. Like example, they try to use loose gravel as a material for a walking trail, and I said no, it doesn't comply. And I cited the sections of the requirements that said they had to put in either asphalt or concrete, and that it needs to be accessible because gravel washes out when it rains, even if it's stabilized. And that, and so that's what I'm doing now as the designated person to review for ADA for city-owned facilities. When it comes to private construction, land use is using International Building Code, which covers that. But they can enforce it. They've adopted the International Building Code as part of the city's code, but I don't think they're as experienced as someone who does specific reviews for accessibility. Also for renovations, that's required nationally. That's the requirement. There is no enforcement of ADA only at the federal level, and that's through a lawsuit. So a tool checklist, also I'm familiar with that checklist, doesn't cover all situations or specifics, nor does it make people comply because it doesn't have any enforcement teeth other than maybe you'll get sued, and that's a big maybe. But if local entities like our own adopt standards and do enforce those, then we'll get more accessible buildings as they get constructed. And that's why I'm thinking we need to do a change to our local local code to require loop systems in meeting rooms possibly.
So
And
that's the kind of thing that we're wanting to put in the Nothing About Us
Yeah.
Without Us resolution.
Yeah, and also when it comes to architects getting in, learning how to do their accessibility components, maybe we need to lobby the state to require it as part of the licensing that they have completed a percentage of their teaching of accessibility within their licensing. Otherwise, they can't be licensed. In Texas, if an architect fails to register a project with me, they can have their license revoked. So when I do plan reviews and they didn't turn in the document, it's called proof of submittal. That if they don't do that, then it gets reported to the architectural board and they can lose their license for a year. And so this state needs to step up its enforcement on that. That's why
Honorata to
Texas.
Daniel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So you're very accurate with saying that this is not a enforceable law. However, any entity that is receiving the federal dollars is responsible to adhere to that law.
Yes.
And if they do not, the funding could be pulled back.
It could be.
Similarly, similarly, you mentioned before that city does not enforce the Title III. However, if the entity receives any city money, then the city
Then
has
it's a
the right
Title II.
to.
Yeah, then it's a city project. It's not a private project. I'm saying like if they build a
Right.
brand new McDonald's, we don't have federal accessibility enforcement powers over them other than a local standard building code, only that. So
Right,
we have
right.
limited enforcement. We cannot step out of our box and there's limits of what
Right.
we can do.
But if it's a nonprofit, for example,
And they receive
on a-
money, yeah, then they
then
they cannot perpetuate discrimination. Yeah.
correct. So
Through
the city is
contract or
equally,
otherwise.
the city is equally responsible as the nonprofit. Correct.
Yes,
Okay,
correct.
thank you.
Thank you, Honorata. Thank you, Daniel. So I just want to hold a vote to table item 7B, planning process for future budget reviews, and item 7H, the City of Santa Fe Public Transportation Senior Van. needs and concerns regarding reduced services impeding access to essential resources and the community for seniors and disabled people. May we have a motion to table those till the next
Yeah,
meeting?
it's B and what?
I'll motion, but on my agenda, it's number 6, not 7.
Yeah, it's 6. Yeah, it says that.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah,
six.
I know which one it is. So B, planning process for budget. And then you said transportation.
7H.
Yeah, okay, table. Okay, who's gonna make that motion? Well,
I will make the motion to table those 2 items.
Second.
Gina,
Aurora.
and then Aurora, okay. Okay, let me go through my,
We lost the interpreter.
I am an old man, hang in there. Okay, Chair Gish,
Yes.
Eli,
Yes.
Kendra,
She had to go.
okay, Aurora,
Yes, Aurora, it's
and, I'm
Aurora.
sorry, Aurora, you're gonna teach me, okay? 'Cause
Roar like a lion. She's got
Yes,
I've
yes,
lost some,
Aurora.
I've lost some teeth, so you're gonna have to bear with me. Angelique, is she here?
Yes.
Yes, she said yes. And then Pam,
Yes.
and of course Gina Maria,
Yes.
and Miriam, she here?
No, she dropped.
Okay. Okay. And also, I asked the chair that will be adding a staff report in writing to you related to our work matters from the staff. And I'll bring that to you on the next meeting agenda.
Okay.
I'll post it with it,
Okay,
if
thank
that's
you.
okay with you.
Yes, I appreciate that. That was what we had initially asked for, because then that way it's like easier for me to follow up anyway.
Yeah, and I also ran it through Ms. Regina.
Mhm.
She liked what I put together, so she says send it to the committee. So
Okay.
I'll do that.
Cool. So matters from subcommittees, I don't think we have any. The only thing I wanted to add is that in the next month, so I've been looking at the vote that we held when we did our priorities list and the things that we had stated about creating subcommittees and really working on our top 5 priorities. So that's going to start moving forward next month. And so I'm organizing that right now. I wanted to do it for this month, but you know, July was nonstop, so there was no chance. And so it will happen in September. But I just wanted to give a heads up that that will be happening, and I'm looking at other committees and seeing what they're doing as well, and like how it can best support us and the work that we're trying to do. And if anyone has any thoughts or ideas of ways to do that, I'm completely open to hearing them and would really appreciate your thoughts being shared with me. So then matters from the staff, Daniel, you already said one part of it, but the transition plan, have you had an opportunity to inspect any other buildings beyond the 4 that you had?
Yes. Yeah, we're getting ready to go into the GCC and then the South Side Library is my next one.
Okay.
But what is entailed in all that is what I wanted before I go into another inspection. I want to finish the ones that I have with the details, because even something like the main library is going to have like 500 items, and it's a lot of work to identify those with pictures. So that way we have a snapshot of where we're at, and as we get things out removed, you guys can see that progress. And that's the biggest part of this work, is the data entry is very tedious, along with the other stuff that I get pulled into. So I'm having to dedicate a day and a half during the week to just nothing but data entry. If I had an intern, maybe I could do better.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's been a continual problem, which is why I became David's intern for all of 3 months with the city funding. And I don't think he actually even got city funding. It was through some kind of a scholarship because I was in school. And so it was, I think if I remember right, it was the College of Santa Fe paying at least part of what I was being paid. It wasn't really the city. So maybe that could happen too. You know, maybe we can look into that.
Well, I have more loftier goals, that if I'm able to create a department that will have a specific employee to help do that.
Yeah, that would be really cool. So yeah, let me know your ideas though too, because I'm like, I always like in my head, I'm like sitting here thinking and I've been planning things out as well. Because I mean, to me, I'm just gonna say it's moving forward in one way or another. And
Yes.
because that's what needs to happen. So, you know, if you end up under the city manager or not initially, like that was the goal anyway. So to me, why not just address that as we're moving forward? So, um, so yeah, it's just to me, these things are just things that need to happen. Um, so is that all you wanted to say, Daniel, for your report?
For this time, because I think
Okay.
my status report will give you more.
Okay. All right. I look forward to that. It's gonna be a big meeting in the next meeting. Not many items, but like
Well, I'm not
very
gonna be very wordy on the report. It's pretty,
okay.
it's pretty simple.
Okay.
And I want to keep it concise because it's just otherwise it'd be a book.
Right. Right.
And I don't want to do that.
No. Okay, so thank you, Daniel. And if you can get that to me as soon as possible, like I would say ideally at least a week before the meeting, so I have a chance to review it and talk about things with you so
Yeah.
that I feel familiarized with it and make sure that we're on the same page. That would be really great.
Okay.
And then matters from the committee. I don't think we have anything unless you go ahead, Aurora.
I was at this library activity last night and the city employee who was the facilitator, I had mentioned something about the first committee, and she said, well, they don't ever do anything. And I said, well, I was chair. I think that was kind of true. I said, but we have a whole new leadership team and they're trying to fix everything. And they did the disability parade and they did, so anyway, there's a city attitude that we don't do much.
We're gonna change that.
Yeah, it's in the works. They're gonna be amazed pretty soon because
And that's gonna be partly because I'm gonna have to find the way to refer to the committee as what you're doing and how you impact me to get things done through how you work through me and others. And so that's gonna be that way when I've talked to another staff member, like it's the committee that's driving the situation.
And
Okay?
we really are. Like, I'm
It's the community. That's
constantly-
why, and you're a
Yeah,
representative of the community. And I've
absolutely.
always told everyone that it's gotta be community-based driven. And that way, the next time they talk to you, or they're gonna say, oh yeah, that's the committee that's making staff do all kinds of stuff. That's what I want to hear them say the next time.
The only thing that I think one thing that we do need to do that I would really appreciate is, and I struggle with it too, because the council chambers are not accessible. They don't feel right. They don't feel like those chairs are awful. If you have any sort of physical limitations, you are not comfortable the whole time you're sitting there. So,
Okay,
the ramp is not accessible. It goes right into the podium. The podium's not accessible. So, but I think as far as being present, I think that right now we have a very supportive council and the counselors have been very aware of what we are doing and wanting to support us more. And that means being more involved with the work that they're doing and reviewing their resolutions and ordinances as well, providing feedback as the committee and everything else and really reaching out to them. And I think that there are ways, and it's going to be in the next meeting where I'm going to discuss potential ways that we can be more visible to the city. Because I'm going to say it, when we were at the Accessibility Awards, I think I heard like 4 variations on what the committee is called. And that's just been consistent. And they really should know us so well that they just know what the committee is named. Like,
and so we're gonna change that. But what I want you to know, because you say next month we'll talk about it, but I need you to know right now, that there's gonna be times when I have to call one of you, or primarily Ms. Chair Gish, that we need to look at something that they're about to push through. We need a comment or a position. And even if we can't meet as a group, that as chair, you may have to give a position or a comment, even though it hasn't been voted on. So that way they are aware that you're involved, in tuned, in place to address not just specific ADA issues, but all city functions to be
Yeah.
more integrated. And that's why when I call you, it's because something just came up and I need your help. And
Yeah.
sometimes when I can't reach you, I reach Eli. But
Yeah.
but be aware, it's not just 1 month that we talk about things and push things through and maybe vote on it. No, it's day to day. Sometimes my stuff needs your involvement.
Yeah,
Okay.
so one thing I was thinking to do, just I can share this a little bit, is to create a subcommittee that is there to support each other through that. Because like me being there
Teamwork.
alone isn't necessarily like I may or may not be able to as me depending on what's going on, but I would at least have 2 backups that way. So we would have 3 people who would be interested in doing something like that and be able to communicate. And if I can't go, then someone else can go, or things like that. So we would have like a team, and that's what I'm thinking to do. And it
Yeah,
would be,
even if it's just giving public comment on the issue
yes,
at discussion.
yes,
So
yeah,
that way they hear the committee all the time
right,
and they can't turn it off
right.
because if silence is not an option for us.
No,
We can't stand by and be quiet. We have to stay engaged. And that means we got to do guerrilla warfare, so be it.
you're the one who said it.
I know, I said it but that's the community's responsibility and you are the community. If you
Yeah,
got to go in there and speak your mind, whether it's official or unofficial, you need to get the message out so because they want to hear. But if no one shows up, then they'll never hear and they don't know what to do and they're making a decision without information. And
right,
so again, like it's not to be derogatory about guerrilla warfare, but it's essential that participation at all times is there. So when I say, hey, I need someone to show up, I need someone to comment, I need someone to say something.
and
Because
it's also, I just want to say it, it's also not just the responsibility of this committee, but I think that it is the responsibility of this committee to outreach to the disability community of Santa Fe and reach out to everyone that we know and say, here's an issue that affects us, or here's an issue that affects our community, and we need to support each other to go to the city hall and speak about what it is, because I'm seeing a lot of people who are going to city hall and they're like consistently there, and I'm thinking, there's almost no disabled representation that is spoken at City Hall.
but yeah, and let's be constructive and positive and get them to let's lead them, not beat them up.
Right,
Let's lead them to success.
right,
We can go in there and complain and be negative, but that doesn't lead them anywhere other
right,
than to be angry with us or to be ashamed of something. We
right,
don't want them to do that. We need them to be inspired that they can do better. That's
right,
what we need them to do.
right.
So let's work together.
Eli, go ahead, and then I'm gonna close out the meeting.
Yeah, that was just actually what I was gonna mention, especially since we don't have an ASL interpreter anymore.
Mhm.
To go ahead and try to close up shop.
Yeah. So, so our next meeting is on September 4th, 2024, from 3 to 5 p.m. on Zoom. And with that, we are adjourned at 5:27 p.m. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.